birthplace of the Egyptian revolution, but Tahrir Square's reputation is now being tainted by a sinister trend. Activists say female protesters are being increasingly subjected to violence and sexual abuse, alarming incidents that some say reflects a much bigger social and cultural problem. RT Sarah Firth reports on the plight of Egyptian women who fear that instead of freedoms promised by Mubarak's fall, they may be facing an even darker future.
When this Egyptian woman was dragged onto Tahrir to be exposed and abused by the military men, it served as a stark reminder. Mubarak might have been toppled, but Egypt's Arab Spring has many hurdles to overcome if it's to blossom into a democracy. For a conservative culture, watching a woman exposed in that way opened the floodgates to shocking tales of female protesters subjected to violence and sexual harassment, not just at the hands of those they opposed, but their fellow revolutionaries as well.
Whether it was emotional or financial, I found him abusing me every day, from controlling what I wear, to physical abuse, to sexual abuse too. Or just give me a hard time that he's coming to pick me up from the station and not turn up for an hour. I'm too scared to make my own way home because I know what's waiting for me if I do.
هي معاكسة البنات في الشارع. الغلط بيبقى ايه على البنات. عشان هم ساعات بيمشوا لابسين لبس ضيق شوية. فايه بيبين جسمهم. انا هقول لحضرتك مثلا انا واحده من القبر انا ما اقدرش اعكسها.
الشارع في ناس نفسها محجبه وكده بيمشوا عادي وبيصلوا وفوتوا عادي ولا بيعكسوا ولا حاجه.
بص هقول لك على حاجه، هم اللي عايزين يتعكسوا يلبسوا محزق ومش عارف ايه والشغل ده ينفع؟ فالعيال يجوا يعكسوهم وكده. انا لما اكون ماشي مع حد من صحابي وبيعكسوا واحده محجبه بزعق لهم. كل واحد حر بس يعني مش هينفع كده، بيخلوا العيال يتجننوا.
ده اكبر من القدوه.
ليه بقى؟
لان هم اصلا ان لو بنت ماشيه محترمه او ماشيه مثلا ماشيه باحترام، تيجي مثلا بنت ماشيه عادي سريعه وكل حاجه، تيجي مثلا عند في بعض البنات مش كل البنات، تيجي عند الشباب وتروح مبطئه، فانها عايزه تسمع المعاكسات، ان المعاكسات دي هي بتخليها مثلا ان هي بتحس ان هي جميله اكتر او حلوه، او مثلا تكون مع زمايلها فبتبداها اكتر بالنسبه لزمايلها ان هي تتعاكس وهم لا. هم ما يلبسوش كده، المفروض اصلا يبينوا كل المفاتن، يداروا كل المفاتن في جسمهم.
Sexual harassment's rampant in Egypt, forcing women to wear conservative clothes and even avoid areas where they might come into close contact with men. Because of the problems of sexual harassment that a lot of women in Egypt complain about, here in Cairo, the metro system has some areas that are for women only. Many of the women say that's to avoid some of the men's wandering hands.
He slapped me and he dragged me to the bedroom and he said, how dare you ask me where I've been and tell me what to do? Do you think I'm not a good father? He said, without me, you are nothing. And then he said, you've been talking to people. And I hadn't spoken to anyone, but he was adamant that I had told everyone. So he said, you have two options. Either leave now or you stay here and everything will be okay. I'll change. So I told him that I want to leave. And it was probably the worst possible thing I could have said. He started hitting me and hitting me. And he didn't stop. He locked the door and he came back and he hit me more and more. And he grabbed an instrument and stabbed me 3 times on my arm, my chest and my leg. And I was semi-conscious at this time. I was finding everything had gone different colors. Then he raped me. He told me this. He told me, make sure you clear up the mess, darling. I'm going to work now. And then he just left. After this incident, I just had enough. I was just so tired of the abuse and was tired of the violence, and I feared for the safety of my child.
In recent years, sexual assaults in public and rapes have been soaring and have been carried out constantly, in which women have been grouped, stripped naked, and dragged through the streets or beaten with sticks, knives, and belts by violent mobs. Support for survivors of sexual and gender-based violence is useless. Women who choose to report it are confronted with several obstacles, including a lack of interest by the security forces or prosecution. This leads many women subjected to domestic violence to suffer in silence, but there are still counseling centers for them to speak up.
So I called up the Muslim Youth Helpline to get some advice.
Yes, it's a confidential service, so we won't be talking to anybody. Every week 2 women are killed at the hands of their husbands or their partners. That's really dangerous. You know, we're a Muslim organisation. We understand the difficulties that people face. I would just say, please pick up that phone. You know, we will try and help you. You don't have to give us your name, where you live, anything like that. And we will try and, you know, get you some real support and help.
المفروض اصلا كل انسان يبتدي بنفسه، يعني عيب لما تكون واحده ماشيه في الشارع ويقعد يعاكس فيها، ما اعتبرها اختك او امك مثلا. وبرضه كعيب من ايه؟ من البنات او الستات اللي ماشيين في الشارع. اللبس اللي بيلبسوه بيخلي الناس اللي ماشيه لازم تعكسهم، بيجبرهم على كده. وبرضه بنرجع ان ايه؟ الشباب اللي ماشيه يعني المفروض يبتدوا بنفسهم ويصلحوا اللي فيهم. ان هم اصلا يعني بقى في مجتمع بايظ خالص اصلا، مفيش حد متحضر خالص، كلهم بقوا يعني.
According to a 2014 UNICEF report covering 29 countries in Africa and the Middle East, Egypt has the region's highest total number of women that have undergone FGM, or female genital mutilation, which is the ritual removal of some or all of the genital organs. Majority of women in this country suffer huge physical, psychological, and unjustified pain and are denied a normal sex life. Laws have been passed banning female genital mutilation. However, this does not stop the traditional families of practicing FGM to their daughters.
The reason FGM is not being discussed or talked about it is the topic is a taboo. It's a topic that everybody feels some degree of shame.
ورأيي في الختان إن ده عنف ضد المرأة، ومفيش أي نص شرعي يثبت إن في حاجة اسمها ختان، وأنا اتختنت عشان كده برفض أي حاجة اسمها ختان.
فأول واحدة وأنا كنت الوسطانية وكان في واحدة تانية بعدية.
They did my elder sister first. I was the middle and the youngest was after me. The midwife came with 2 large accomplices and bound me by my hands and feet so she could hold me down. I tried to hit one of them but couldn't. I was only 10. I screamed, but they gagged me so my little sister would not hear the pain. Afterwards I screamed all day. I spent 2 days recovering. It was terrible. To this day, I shudder from the memory.
She invited 13-year-old Saba, whose older sister had already been mutilated, to her teaching.
I spoke to my mum and told her everything I learned from Salma. I spoke to her politely to convince her. Luckily, it worked. There are no actual benefits to circumcision. People just think that way. Once I explained to her the harm it causes, she was convinced.
Needle. By this needle, they can bring the clitoris a little bit outside to cut it, and the other two needles, they put one on this labia and another one the other labia, and they just stretch it out so they can cut it.
Some of the immediate complications include bleeding, infections from using unsterile tools in carrying out circumcision, severe pain which may lead to body shock. All of these can cause the girls to die. We witness complications later on. Female circumcision means these women never reach orgasm during sexual intercourse. This results in the woman withdrawing from sex with her husband, which causes problems in the marriage.
Paradoxically, she explains, deaths have increased since the practice was banned.
In some cases, parents don't seek medical care, even if their daughters suffer severe complications, in which case it becomes too late for us to save their lives. Girls die because their parents are too afraid of prosecution.